think we're recording.
We are recording. I have to sing everything right out of the gate.
Always.
Okay, y'all.
Always.
This is the first video.
First.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The Lord had laid something on my heart over a year ago, and it was to begin to do interviews with various people, particularly women in ministry, but not necessarily only women, to make for my blog and for Sheranna.com, where this will be posted on Sheranna.com and the SherannaDawn YouTube channel. So I wanted to begin doing that, but it didn't really pan out. I never did that.
Right.
And so 2 weeks ago, Debbie came up. She's going to tell you who she is in a minute. I'm just doing a little intro. Came to visit me, and we were working on some music for an upcoming women's conference that we're doing for ReKindle Ministries International. And we were sitting and talking, and it just occurred to me, conversations with Sheranna, and then conversations with Sheranna and Debbie. So this is the first installment of a series of videos that I hope is going to bless people, change their lives. I know I'm already encouraged and excited about it. I'm so encouraged, y'all.
We are so excited.
This is how excited I am. I trimmed and dusted my plant, and when I saw how dusty it was, I was like, I'm so sorry. I really do love you. So yeah, even my plant got dressed up for today.
Yes.
So this is Conversations with Sheranna and Debbie. I am Sheranna from SherannaDawn, co-founder of ReKindle Ministries International with my ministry partner on that end, Charlene Geisler. And this is one of my favorite people, and I'm not just saying that because she's sitting here, an anointed...
Sure you are.
No. I say that behind your back, girl. I do. Turn around. I'll say it again. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself, but I'm telling you the wisdom, the power, the anointing, the ministry that she's been entrusted with from God is just so powerful. It's life-changing. And who are you? Sitting in my chair.
I don't know who I am.
I'm going to call this the big chair, and I'm going to reupholster it. The new look coming soon. First video, new look coming soon.
Next video, it will be done.
Probably not.
Yeah. Nice thought, right?
Nice thought. Okay, who are you?
So my name is Debbie Hancock, and I am a Texas girl. I was born in Houston. I lived in Houston until 1995.
Wow.
I know. So big hair, Texas girl, that's where I am. I lived there until 95, and then we moved to Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
And I lived in Charleston, South Carolina until 99. And during that time, that's when I met the Lord. I didn't know Jesus. I wasn't a Christian then, and that's when I met Jesus.
Wow.
And that's when my life was changed forever. And
How
then
old were you when you got saved?
I was 29.
Wow.
So just a couple years ago.
She's a newborn babe.
Yeah, just weeks, you know. I don't know how that works when I have like a almost 25-year-old kid, but anyway, so we lived there until 99, and then we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's where I've been ever since. And you know, we never know the adventures that God is going to take us on, and what, you know, how he orchestrates everything to such detail. We never know exactly how things come about, and how things come about full circle, and how he stretches us, and how he molds us, and how he connects people. You just never really know what it all really means until it happens, and then it's like, oh wow, you know. And so,
but on the journey, it you find yourself wondering, doubtful, you know.
Oh yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Because when you're in the middle of that, you're like, why am I here?
So that means we need to talk about transition, but finish.
Yeah, for sure. And so I remember when we moved to Charleston, I was so excited. I was a career person before we moved, and you know, I gave up my career to be a stay-at-home mom and to raise my little 9-month-old little boy, and it embarked on a whole different life.
I have a gnat in my house.
Yeah. didn't even notice it. And then, you know, being a stay-at-home mom, you know, that has a whole other set of issues in your life and a lot of things that you're learning about yourself, and then meeting the Lord. And so it's just, you know, it's just, life is so, you want to embrace every part of every season of life that you're in, regardless of what the season may feel like at the time. There's fruit and goodness in each of those seasons that you're in. And so we were
the hardest thing to do. I'm an active listener, guys. So
no, it's good.
Yeah, the hardest thing to do oftentimes is to embrace the season that you're in. Did you get that? Embrace the season that you're in, because it's easier to see things in hindsight, very much because we're always looking for the next thing. That's instead of being faithful and excited and invested in where we are.
And that's where contentment comes too.
Contentment. We live in a world full of contentment issues.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard because you're always thinking you have these expectations, and now with social media, the way it plays such a important role in our lives, and it's such a part of it, you know, you see everyone's life and you think, wow, I wish my life was like that.
Oh yeah, because we only post the perfect. Very few people talk about dusty plants and gnats.
Right, because you're slapping me. But you know,
I live on a farm, y'all.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, looking back, and you know, I guess maybe it's the age. You know, I guess when you get older, you can be more introspective and look at your life instead of when you're in the throes of raising your children, or in the throes of just doing life day by day. I think a little bit of age and wisdom definitely helps that. And I think if I could go back to my 30-year-old self, I would say, enjoy the moments that you're in.
Say that to the 30-year-old selves.
Yes.
What would you say to the 30-year-old selves?
Enjoy the moments and the season that you're in right now, because every season is important to your walk, in your walk with God. Yes. Every season has its measures of learning, your measures of growing, and because you'll look back on those times and be like, those times weren't that bad. And look at the faithfulness of God and what He's done.
Yeah. And it makes you who you are.
Yes.
And your attitude really has everything to do with the outcome.
Yes.
Marvin, my husband, and I, we often talk about this, and I'll be honest with you, I'm 53 at this filming.
You're just a baby.
I'm such a baby. I act like I'm not ashamed of my age. There's no reason to be.
Older
it's
than
kind of silly. It's so funny that I'm older than you, because I'm younger than everybody else I hang out with. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, everybody else I hang out with.
I'll be 53 this year.
Oh, okay.
So you're a little
She's an infant.
I'm just a babe.
Marvin and I, we talk about a moment of epiphany that we had when we were in our 40s. So it's probably been about 10 years ago. We kind of looked at each other. I think we were at a hotel at Myrtle Beach in a swimming pool. We were talking, floating around talking. And the conversation went something like, I wonder what I don't know, because when I was 20, I pretty much knew everything.
You think you know everything?
I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew what motherhood was going to be like until I became a mother. Mm-hmm. I thought I knew what being sick to the point of death and hospitalized like I was, story I'll tell one day. I thought maybe I could empathize or sympathize with it until that happened to me. I thought I knew what turning 30 felt like until I turned 30, 40 until I turned 40, what it felt like for me, menopause, until you do it. And then, so around 40, mid-40s, Marvin and I looked at each other and went, it's so funny at this age, we find ourselves looking back thinking, wow, I really didn't know. And which prompted us to think, right, wow, I wonder what I don't know yet.
Right. Well,
I wonder what I don't know yet.
And I think as you get older, you realize the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
And so life is like that. And
It's a
really,
journey.
there's a freedom in that you don't
Yeah.
have to have all the answers.
No.
You don't have to have it figured out.
No.
God's mercy is new every day, and every day we're given that new measure of mercy and that new measure of grace. And that's all we have for that
That's
day, and
good.
that's all we have to live in.
That's good.
Just like when the Israelites were given the manna, they were given enough for that day. So every day God gives you what you need for that day.
Yeah.
Not what you need for tomorrow,
Right.
or not what you need for the next day, but what you need for today. And that's what carries us through.
So reflect and learn. Invest in where you are now. And of course, hope and dream for the future. But don't skip the now part.
The process.
Don't skip that part. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Because that is what refines us. That's what teaches us. That's where our joy comes from. That's where our hope comes from. That's where we can embrace where we are. Embrace those moments that may feel excruciating, and that doesn't negate people going through hard times. That doesn't negate that at all,
No,
because
not
we
at
all
all.
have gone through hard times.
Yeah.
But in those hard times, in those joyous times, if we know, okay, God has given me what I have for today to get through today, and to be more like Him every day. God does not cause sickness. He does not cause pain.
No.
He uses those things to refine us.
No. Those are a result of the fallen world we
That's
live
right.
in.
That's right. And so from that point, we can know that, and we can walk into that. And it's so important to have a community around you that you can be real with, and
Yeah.
you can say, okay, today my day really sucks and I need someone to help me.
Yeah.
Or I'm not having a good day, and you have those people that can come around you and lift you up and point you to truth, because truth is what we have. That's what we can hold on to, because that's what Jesus died to give us. And He wants us to have a full life here on earth.
Yep.
That's what He wants for us.
Yep.
And that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's such a gift that we've been given that we need to embrace. we
And
need to
so
walk
you
in.
you through the transitioning and coming into these different areas and into Charlotte, you've learned to embrace where you are,
Oh yes.
and so more about who you are.
Yes. So we moved to Charleston from 95 to 1999, and then my daughter was born in Charleston. I have 3 children.
Beautiful children.
So I have
love
3
your
children, and every one of them's born in a different state or a different city. So I have Madeline, who was born. I have Gray, who's my oldest son, and then Madeline, who was born in Charleston, and then we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. And when we moved to Charlotte, I actually, because I had met the Lord in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was as happy as a clam. I could have been there my whole life. I loved my church. I loved my community. I loved being in Charleston, because it's like you're on vacation every day. Like, it really is wonderful there. I was happy.
I wish I was on vacation every day.
You are, right?
I'm on vacation today.
Yes, we are. And so anyway, so it was just a great place. And when we moved to Charlotte, we knew the Lord was in it. We knew we were supposed to move here. We moved to a place where I knew no one. I didn't have any friends here. I'm from Texas, so living in Charlotte is a whole new world. And it was really hard at first, because I felt very alone.
Yeah.
Because here I have these 2 little kids, and I'm in a new place. Even though I knew God was calling me to Charlotte,
Right.
I really protested for a little while, because I loved my community. I was very comfortable in Charleston.
And you had no idea what God was going to do with you in Charlotte, though.
Exactly.
Wait for it.
Yes.
This is good.
And so we were there. We lived in Charlotte, and my kids were getting involved and growing up, and all of that. And then I ended up having a surprise baby. So I have a 16-year-old as well as having older ones, and so that was a shock. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And so we're just going on with life and learning. I just really learned more about what God has called me to, and learning things about me, because for so many years I always felt like I was different than everyone else. I always felt like something's off, something's, I don't think like everyone else.
Me too.
I'm just a little bit different. I felt misplaced.
Me too.
In every
Always.
place I ever was.
Every place I ever was.
Yeah, and everything just kind of came together, and we can talk about that more in another time, but it was just...
That's good too.
All of a sudden, it's like everything made sense to me. And through that, through a series of events, the Lord called me, as well as 2 other people, to start a ministry working with women who've been trafficked and exploited.
Human trafficking.
So we have a ministry in Charlotte called Compassion to Act, and we work with women who've been trafficked and exploited in our city. And you don't realize, I always have had a heart for women and kids. From the time I was saved, we would always have women and children live with us. Women who had maybe been in a domestic violence situation or in different, just hard situations. They would come and live with us, or we would help them. And so God was already lining that up in my life. He was already setting me up.
Wow.
It was actually a divine setup, and I didn't even realize it until this happened. And so even when I said yes to the call of stopping and fighting human trafficking, I didn't even know what it was. I just said yes because I wanted to be with my friends. And I knew I loved to help women and see women heal and restore their lives, and I said yes to it. And here I am in my 40s.
I want to interject something right there too. When you said that, something just went through my mind. I knew I wanted to help women. Women, we need to help each other. I just want to interject right here, even though we're talking about human trafficking and helping set women free who are enslaved, or have been enslaved, are enslaved now, been in abusive situations trying to escape. But women need to learn to cheer each other on in general. In general, guys. We need to get behind each other and stop thinking that there's not enough of God's call to go around.
That's right. That's right. We're on the same team.
We're on the same team. That's
We're
beautiful.
on the same team.
I love it. I love being able to cheer you on. Go ahead.
Yes, and I love being able to cheer you on.
Yay!
And all of you that have calls and destinies on your life, because God has given everyone a call and a destiny for their life.
Yeah.
No matter how small or insignificant that you may think it is, it's important. If you're a stay-at-home mom and that's the season of life you're in, that is the most important job you have. That's raising your children. That's raising the future.
And we've been there. I've been there.
That's right. And if you're called to the marketplace and you're called to have effects in business, we need that in every place. So never minimize what God has for you or where He's put you in, the place He has you in. It's important and it's a value.
Yes. See, I told you her heart for women in general. But trafficking, He was setting you up for that.
He was so setting me up. And I said yes, and I didn't even know what I was saying yes to. And then as we started learning about what human trafficking is and how it's epidemic in our city, so we live in Charlotte, and Charlotte's the #1 city in North Carolina and #7 in the nation. So not only do we have this epidemic in our beautiful city, we also are pioneering how to help women heal and restore their lives on a whole nother level. We're in it's a whole different avenue that I'm still learning. How do we help these women? How do we give them hope? How do we give them life? How do we help them go to that next place? Yeah. Because they need it. We all need it.
How do you help them? Of course, the ones that have been gone in and literally lifted out, rescued, found, discovered, bondage, and taken. That's one thing to set free. But then how do you help the ones who actually have the choice to walk away be able to walk away? Because sometimes that's probably harder.
It's harder
because they don't have
the mind control. Because so often and most often, I mean, the reality, most people have seen the movie Taken, where, they go in and they, the dad goes after his child. Yes, she does that. That is part of it, but that's not the common part of it. The common part of it is the daily the daily things, because we have women and young adults that are in schools that are being trafficked by a boyfriend, or a mom that's being trafficked by a boyfriend, or you have, you know, a grandmother. We helped a woman who was a grandmother who had already raised her children, who had already, you know, was a grandma and met a man, and it's a mind control. So when you have a mind control situation, it's very hard to break out of that. And it's really a Pandora's box.
It is a Pandora's box.
It is.
And I want to relate to this. One thing that we talked about when we talked about beginning to do hopefully what's going to be regular segments with Debbie, because she has so much to offer, is our desire for vulnerability, to put ourselves out there, to tell the truth about ourselves first. And when you said that about the mind control, how I can relate to it, and maybe this will help somebody out there who's not being trafficked relate to it, was I actually had a very abusive childhood, and which I'll go into in another video. But one of the things that kept me silent all of my years through school, people didn't know. I mean, because the mind control, it's real. It'll keep you silent, and it'll keep you even in a mode of protecting the environment that you're in.
That's right.
Even though everything in you knows it's wrong and wants to be free, if your mind is in bondage and being controlled, that's very, very, very real.
Yes, it is.
Very real. So before you say to somebody, why don't you leave, why don't you do this or that, there are so many more
That's right.
Levels.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. And, you know, and even in those situations, you know, they've been threatened. If you tell, we'll kill your family. If you're told, we will take
under
you out.
threat.
Yes. And so that fear and that control is what keeps so many women bound. And to be able to be brave enough to step out of it, to trust someone to step out of that. And so these ladies that we help, they're so brave. They're so brave. They've been through more than I could even imagine. And yet they're brave enough to step out and go, I want to be helped.
I want to be helped.
I want to be helped. I want
Wow.
to change, even though they may not even know what that feels like. I mean, and think about
And that's terrifying.
Yes, and even in our lives, we can relate to that, because think about the thing in your life that you've been most scared about, that you've had to make a decision to step out in. Everyone
good.
has them.
That's good.
Think how you felt. That's how these ladies feel.
That's good. I think that's a good point, because I have no idea how long this video is. That's a good place to end with the challenge to think about where you want to be free. And maybe it's not trafficking or abuse, or maybe it's just a fear to step out and make yourself vulnerable and offer yourself in an area that you feel called to but unworthy.
Right.
That's a good one. Speak to that.
Yes. So right now, we just take authority over fear in your life.
Yes.
We break its hold upon you right now.
Yes.
And we breathe and we align our spirit to your spirit, and we speak life. We speak freedom.
Yes,
we
freedom.
speak destiny over you.
Destiny.
That you have been called for a time as this. And it is time for you to step into where God has called you to be.
Yes. Never, in my opinion, has it ever been more important for the people of God to step in to the destiny that He has called you to. You are so important, and you are necessary.
Yes, you are.
Into the kingdom of God.
Yes.
So
go seize your day.
go seize the
Go
day.
do it.
Oh my goodness, I can't really believe you said that, because just yesterday, this is the truth. I was wanting a life motto, a new life motto to, I want a sign to hang up and look at. And do you know what the Lord gave me?
Go seize your day.
Carpe diem. That is so funny. Anyway, God bless you. This is the first installment of Conversations with Sheranna and Debbie.
We love you. We love you.
We We love you. God
Yes.
bless you. Contact us. Like this video if you're seeing it on Facebook. Share. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. I need subscribers, guys. I think right now I have. Do I have 12? I don't know. But I need.
I'll subscribe.
We need subscribers because subscribers help the bump it up, when people do on the search engine and stuff. So subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, tell people about it, and God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.